Alright then. Howdy there, folks. It is I again. By I of course am referring to myself, and by myself I of course am referring to Brandon Wenzel, and by Brandon Wenzel I'm referring to a rather chunky man with some wacky hair. And by a rather chunky man with some wacky hair, I'm referring to a rather chunky man with some wacky hair. But I'm also referring to your news source for martial arts cinema related reviews. And this is, of course, my first official review. Not the intro. Intro's done. Done with the intro. This is the first one. And I'm coming live to you from down in my room in the basement, which explains the lighting. I don't have a lot of control over that, unfortunately. I have terrible, terrible lighting pretty much everywhere in my house, unless I have daylight to work with, because apparently I live in a 5th century castle in England somewhere. So, 5th century castle aside, let's move on to the review. Now, the review, that's what you're here for, that's what I'm here to talk about. And so, what did I review? Well, if you had watched my intro video, which you probably didn't, because you're a bastard, or a bitch, to be politically correct, you would already know that. But, because I have to compensate, I have to, take into account that people might not have watched the first one. What I reviewed, of course, was Ong Bak, the Thai warrior. And, like I said, if you didn't watch the intro video, which is fine, do what you want. It's a free country. Or at least country that I'm from. Well, at least we say we are. But maybe you're from North Korea. I don't know where you're from. If you're from North Korea, you're probably not even getting this, so, so it doesn't matter. North Korea aside. Segueing off of North Korea. Which, how often do you do that? That's got to be illegal in North Korea. But moving aside from all that, back to Ong Bak, the Thai warrior. I'm not going to go into all the reasons why I chose this as my first one. Watch the intro video if you want to find that out. Otherwise, I'm just going to try to get into this review. So, Ong Bak, the Thai warrior, which I have said now probably about 5 times, but it bears saying, because it's an amazing movie. Stars a guy named Tony Jaa. Now, if you don't know Tony Jaa, first of all, you are obviously no friend of mine, because I cannot stop talking about the guy. He's amazing. Earth-shatteringly, gravity-defying. Again, first video, explained it. Film was directed by a guy, and now I'm going to apologize, some of these Thai names I am going to butcher and slay Highlander style, because I'm just not that good at it. I even tried to learn a little Thai at one point in time. Sawat D, by the way, or Sawat D. But, yeah, I'm gonna butcher these things terribly, so let me go ahead and just explain that right in advance. Directed by a guy named Prachya Pinkau, something like that. And, excellent movie. Excellent movie. Kind of explain the plot a little bit, go into a little bit of a review. This was really Tony's, kind of breakout film. Really it almost acts as kind of an extended show reel for Tony, but the backstory to the film is Tony Jaa plays this dude named Ting. Now, Ting's a cool little guy, right? He's over there, he's just doing his thing, he comes from this little, backwater town in Thailand, and he's just doing his thing. He's just doing his thing. But there's this douchebag named Don, right? Now let's say this marker here is Don. Don has a motorcycle helmet. So we put the helmet back on Don. Now Don's a douchebag. I already mentioned that. He's the aforementioned douchebag. And he's over there, I guess his job is just to be a general goon and fuck up. And he does this, expertly so, really, by going over there and trying to steal or otherwise acquire, old artifacts, religious artifacts, things like that he can give to his boss so that he can sell. So, tries to get this amulet off this old dude. Old dude's like, I don't want to deal with you, you're a dick. And he's right. He's absolutely right. Don, this marker's name is Sharpie, not Don. But Sharpie Don is a dick. And so he decides, I know what I'll do. Because I've got a plan, because I'm Don. I have a motorcycle helmet. I'm going to go over there, hit an old man, take a statue's head, statue being this Buddha statue, referred to as Ong Bak, the thing. I was not just gesturing to my penis, by the way. Gesturing to the movie in my lap. Can't see that, though. So he goes over there, steals the head, decides he's going to ransom it. Good plan, Don. Even his boss, okay, now his boss might be the best character in the movie, besides Tony Jaa, and he might even be better than Tony Jaa in this film. His boss is this little Thai dude who's like this mob boss or something like that. You know, he runs fighting rings and all that stuff. And he also sells stolen antiques, which is why he's got this whole thing. I don't know why he hired Don. He must have been like somebody's brother-in-law or something like that. But the thing that makes him great is this little dude in a wheelchair, and he's got one of these things that you have to press to your throat in order to speak. And it's just, if you've never heard Thai, and I really do suggest watching this movie with the subtitles, with the original dubbing. Thai is an awesome sounding language. When you put it through one of these things, it's the funniest goddamn thing you've ever seen. It's hilarious. And every time he does this, he just, to go do something, brings a smile, like a small child eating candy, to my face. So, anyway, Don goes back to the city to his boss, who has this thing. And by the way, let me just a little segue. Why the hell do we still have these things? These are awful. Can't we do better for these people? I also have no idea what these things are called. But he goes to go get this whole thing squared away. And his boss looks at him just like he's a three-legged mule. Like, what the fuck use do I have for you? Why did you come to me with this statue's head? In what possible way is this help? Whatever. You're not good. You're just not good. So, it becomes Tony's job to go over there and to save the day. What makes it Tony's job? Well, at the beginning of the film, he plays ultimate Thai capture the flag, which consists of him and a bunch of other guys who are all caked over with dried mud, climbing up a tree to get a flag. And they're knocking each other down, and I don't know how 1 million people a year aren't killed in Thailand if they actually do this out there, unless they're all built like Tony Jaa. Which, if that's the case, it wasn't exactly on my list of things to do, but we definitely don't need to go to war with Thailand if that's the case. If anyone was, this movie right here is pretty much a codex for why you don't want to go to war with Thailand. So he's the guy. He's the chosen dude, and he's got to go do this. Okay, he goes to go do it. Yay! So from there, part of it becomes kind of like, if you're familiar with martial arts films, you've seen this kind of thing, where it's like, you take the small town guy, send him to the big city, craziness ensues. And of course it does here as well, because otherwise, where would you be? So he runs into this dude, Hum Le, who, previously from his village, who's become a bit of a dick. He's into gambling and all that stuff and everything. He's played by Hum Le. He's played by the awesome comedian guy named, and again, I already told you I'm going to butcher these, Pet Chatai Wong Kum Lao, or something like that. That actually doesn't sound too bad. So he's over there, and he's, Tony Ting goes to him, like, Hum Le, dude, what's up? You gotta help me out. But Hum Le's hanging out with this girl, and they're doing wacky stuff trying to get money and everything. And, of course, Tony ends up getting involved with this whole thing, and wackiness ensues, and he's got to go over there and fight some people and some things, and then, so that's what happens. So, he goes over there because Humlei's a dick. He's got to go over there. Not a dick like Don, though. He doesn't get a marker. Only dicks get the marker. So, Humley goes over there, takes all the money that Tony had saved up for this whole thing and all the villagers had given him so that he could, you know, go to the city and eat. And, you know, not have to sell himself on the street to keep this quest going, as it were. It is a risky, risky man that buys Tony Jaa on the street, by the way. But whatever. So, he goes over there. He's got to go do this whole thing. And, of course, runs in this whole underground fighting ring. This poor son of a bitch named Pearl Harbor decides, "Woo-ha! I'm Pearl Harbor. I'm going to beat your ass, boy." And in the infamous, what I have dubbed, again, in my intro video, the knee heard round the world, Tony just floors the guy. And I want to bring up something real quick. So I'm just trying to give little tidbit things about some of the people involved in these films, to kind of give you a little bit more depth to these films. The guy who played Pearl Harbor in this film, dude named Eric Marcus Schultz. And I do, by the way, have a little cheat sheet over here, just because some of these names, particularly the Thai ones and stuff, I'm just not gonna remember them off the top of my head. You know, thankfully Tony Jaa was nice enough, and I think he did this as a personal favor to me, by the way, because we're like this. He was nice enough to simplify his name for me, but not everybody did. But Eric Marcus Schultz plays Pearl Harbor, as I just mentioned. And I just wanted to bring him up because there was an excellent movie that came out last year called Kill 'Em All, here in America. Wasn't filmed in America, but came out here in America. With the awesome Tim Mann and the amazing Gordon Liu. And I'm going to go ahead. I'll probably end up doing a review for that at some point in time, so get into that. But he was in that movie, and he played the German assassin at the beginning of the film. I'm not going to go into it too much, but yeah, it's pretty interesting that this guy goes from playing guy named Pearl Harbor to playing basically a Nazi assassin. So, interesting choices, but I like it. I do. Probably a hell of a nice guy in real life, and let's face it, if you're, you know, going to be one of these bit guys who's kind of just there to play this one role and, you know, get kneed in the face or what have you, wouldn't you want to be a guy named Pearl Harbor, or, you know, or a Nazi assassin? I mean, wouldn't you? So, I just wanted to bring that up as a little extra thing there. He knocks the crap out of him, and Homelander is like, "Oh boy, I just hit the jackpot." And Tony Jaa's like, "You're a dickbag. Get away from me. Go finish my quest on my own. Give me the money that I would, you know, that belong to the villagers. I don't even want the prize money because I'm Tony Jaa and I have scruples." That, by the way, should be a politician's plug. I'm so-and-so, and I have scruples. No one would believe them, but that's fine. So, needless to say, these two end up getting entangled once again. I really do want to bring up, I want to really point out Humlei's role and his actor, who I'm not going to even try to butcher his name again. I really want to point out and give some credit to this guy, because he's a great little comedian from out of Thailand. Like I said, he's been in all of Tony Jaa's films up to this point, I believe. And the two of them, the reason why I want to bring him up is because he really does bring such a great dimension to this film. Because the film would have been great, you know, for action's sake without him. But Tony, as an actor, although he has, I think, legitimately gotten better as his career's gone by, particularly at this point, with this being his first major role, his first, like, starring role, you know, it's, he's really good at playing kind of, you know, the hapless guy. You buy him as the character he plays, and I don't think anybody on the planet is better than playing Tony Jaa and just being pissed off. When he's mad at you, you know it, okay? I mean, you know it like you know a train's coming at you when you see it coming down the tracks. You're gonna get bowled over by it. But without Humley, without that actor playing Humley, to have that nice little bounce-off point, I don't think the film would have worked as well. It wouldn't have been as entertaining as an overall film. Still would have been a great martial arts film because it's Tony Jaa doing amazing Tony Jaa things that, I mean, just boggle the mind. And they really, really do, by the way. If you're not familiar with this guy, check this stuff out. And I would really suggest starting with this film because it really is just a great showcase of the things that he's capable of doing. But Pechatai Wongkam really does a great job of kind of evening things out. And it does such a great job of it because it manages to make it, at points, funny, but not so much so like some martial arts films do, where it gets to the point where you're just sitting there thinking to yourself, dear God, I would stab myself in the foot to make this shit stop. Because some martial arts films really do that. They just oversell the hell out of the comedy, and it just, for me, it drives me nuts sometimes. This doesn't do that. It interjects it intelligently here and there. And because it does that, it's more fun, in my opinion. So, that said, going on from that, so, you know, he's got to go over there and do this whole thing. He gets blackmailed by this guy, and he goes over there, you know, he has to lose a fight to this one douchebag, and, you know, so he's over there doing his whole thing, and he fights these other guys, and I wanted to bring up some of these other guys. First I wanted to bring up Tochiro, the guy who plays Tochiro, who I guess is supposed to be Japanese, the name sounds Japanese. I just wanted to say, with Tochiro, I love Tochiro. I wish that the guy who played him had done more in more of significant roles or something, but he doesn't seem to have. The only thing with him, and maybe some of you, if any of you watch this, will be able to tell me, how seriously am I supposed to take Tochiro? Because I always get a laugh out of him, but I'm never sure how much so. Because just to give you a thing, if you've never seen the movie, a visual. Tochiro is this little Asian dude who's over there, he's in a suit and everything, and he runs around, he's super energetic, he's do all the time, and he's got this spiky, kind of like, you know, Afro-style Asian hair, you know, even crazier than mine, and I'm never sure how serious I'm supposed to take this guy. Because he's a great little fighter. I mean, the fight it's really entertaining, but it's obviously intended, you know, for there to be some fun in there. And this is going to be an awful analogy that I'm going to feel bad for saying, and probably going to get sent straight to hell. But I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway. It's, I guess, kind of watching like an old person slip on some ice, where it's not funny, and of course you don't want them to be hurt. You know, you go out to help them because, you know, you're not a terrible person. But on the other hand, it's a little funny, like that awful part of you that lives right back here. Some of you, it's a bigger part than others. Mine's, well, you get kind of a, you know, an awful kick out of it, but you don't know how much fun you're allowed to have with it. And that's kind of how I treat Tochiro. I'm not sure where to draw the line. So Tochiro is like an old person slipping on some ice. Yeah. So, I also wanted to bring up the character of Mad Dog. Now, Mad Dog is great. I mean, he's another one of these great characters, which the characters are so cool in this, too. I mean, one of the things that really makes this movie as great as it is the characters actually have a lot of depth to them. You know, they're not just, I'm character type A, I'm character type B. No, they're interesting characters, and even though you don't get a lot in the way of, you know, I don't know if Mad Dog really says anything in the film, but through action, he makes quite the impact, pun intended, because you see, Mad Dog's played by a guy named David East Malone or something like that. Again, I apologize. That one's not even a Thai name, and I fucked that one up, so I'm just terrible. But Mad Dog is like a master of just barroom fighting foo. He doesn't have a style of fighting. He's just going to pick up every object near him and try his damnedest to murder you with it. He's going to go to extraordinary lengths. He's going to pick up tables, chairs, dishes. He's going to rip electrical sockets out of the wall and try to freaking electrocute, because that's what the man does. That's what he does. I don't think you could pay him to not do it. The poor black man announcer who was just like, oh dear God, when he showed up, who, by the way, is amazing. And I'm not kidding about this. You've seen this movie. You'll know what I'm talking about. When I had my original iPod Nano, which I actually still have somewhere around here, when you're able to, like, name it, you know, your profile for it, I named it, not kidding, Music! And then the black man starts dancing as the police come in. That's when I named my iPod from this film. That guy's just awesome. But, Mad Dog, David East Malone, which, by the way, I did want to bring him up real quick as well, because he's another guy he's pretty damn amazing. He recently did a film, I think it came out last year or something like that. It hasn't had an official American release, so you know, I'm sure you can download it or whatever. I always support the official release, by the way. Don't be a dickbag. I mean, I completely admit to going over there and occasionally buying some bootleg films, but I also always buy the eventual release if it comes out, because I want to support it. But did a film called Fighting Fish, and I can't tell you who it stars because I forgot their names offhand, but it's got Patrick Kazutang in there, who is amazing, and it's got some other really cool guys. Jawed El-Berni, I remembered one of them. He's one of the starring guys. But yeah, David Issa Malone is also in that film, plays a great character. Basically plays the same character that he plays in this, just in a different light. So, I wanted to plug that a little bit. So, moving on, and I also wanted to bring up, too, that, I mean, Pana Ridikrai, Tony Jaa's mentor, who's the one who got him into this whole thing, he also plays kind of a bit role in there, just, you know, no one particular. Some other kind of like high, you know, some names that will eventually go on from that film. It really shows the impact of this film. You know, whenever a film can go over there and launch the careers of X amount of other people, that says a lot for it. Dan Chupong, who's in Born to Fight, Dynamite Warrior, a bunch of other things. Kind of Tony Jaa light, I guess. That's kind of how I refer to him. He's in there too, again, just as a bodyguard. I believe Mike B., who is in, like, Brave and The Sanctuary. I believe he's in there, too. I know he was part of Tony Jaa's stunt team, so he probably would have been part of that as well. And, so, in any case, the film, of course, you know, it has to get to a, you know, eventual climax. And the climax is great. Got a giant Buddha's head over there. It falls on this guy. Because Buddha was pissed. Buddha forgives 3 times, and he had had enough. So he decided to go over there and crush the poor bastard with his giant statue head. But, I mean, Tony is amazing in this. I mean, to kind of, you know, because I know I'm at, like, almost 25 minutes now, so I'm going to try to finish it up here pretty soon. Tony's amazing at it. The fights are amazing at it. The stunts are amazing at it. One of the cool things about these films, I mean, when you see a guy get hit in the face, you're seeing a guy get hit in the face. You're not seeing, you know, that you usually see. You know, it's all real. It's no bullshit. You know, I mean, it's incredibly cool. I mean, there's a scene in the film which really has become somewhat famous amongst these films, where you've got Tony Jaa and he goes over there and knees a man while his feet are on fire. And I'm convinced that man's dead. There's just no way he's alive. But, you know, it's such a cool movie. Every scene is just jaw-dropping. You know, it makes you salivate. And Tony is such an amazing guy. He's gone on, since this film, of course, he's gone on, he's done 2 sort of prequels to this film, Ong Bak 2 and Ong Bak 3. He also went on, he did Tom Yum-goong, which is arguably his best film. I think a lot of people feel that way. Or as the awfully titled American version, The Protector, which I'm not going to go into right now, how much that bugs the crap out of me. But he also did Tom Yum-goong 2 recently, which I think is supposed to have an American release sometime in the not too distant future, which, how cool will that be? And, I mean, he's really, since kind of, you know, to little background thing, he's had kind of a split with his production company. You know, his contract had kind of gone up, and I don't want to go into the full details of the thing, but it was kind of an ugly thing, and which is sort of unfortunate. You know, it's unfortunate that Tony had to break away, but since doing so, his career internationally has definitely kind of skyrocketed. I mean, this is a guy who people wanted to work with, and have wanted to work with for the past 9-10 years, and you know, because of his production company or schedule or whatever. I don't know the details about the thing. It just wasn't happening. I mean, you're talking about, you know, Jackie Chan wanted to work with him. Chen Kwan-tai, you know, wants to work with him, which they're, you know, Chen Kwan-tai is still out there. Do it now, please, 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 please. Unfortunately, the late, great, amazing, absolutely amazing Lau Kar-long, director of iconic stature, of whom very few people can even touch. Amazing martial artist, amazing man, you know, just... but he wanted to work with Tony Jaa, and if you're like me and you know who Lau Kar-long is, you know who Tony Jaa is, the idea of the two of them doing a film together, quite frankly, just... it makes your brain leak out of your mouth into salivation. It just does. It's so good. So good. But unfortunately, Master Lau Kar-long actually passed away last year. And so unfortunately that one's not going to happen. But there is still time. But he's doing a lot of things now. Aside from, he recently had a child. I do not remember if it's a boy or a girl. Sorry, Tony. But he had a child. But aside from that, he's doing movies. He's doing... he's going to be in the next Fast and Furious movie, which, by the way, just a quick thing, rest in peace, Paul Walker. That was really unfortunate to hear about. He passed away not that long ago as well. He's doing not 1, but 2 films with Dolph Lundgren, which, how amazing is that? It's Dolph Lundgren! He's Ivan Drago! I must break you. That's amazing. You've got A Hero Will Rise, which is kind of I think, sort of like a Western or something, I'm not exactly sure. And he's doing another one called Skin Trade, which is the one that I'm really, really following, because not only does it have Tony Jaa, not only does it have Dolph Lundgren, which makes it worth following anyway, but it's also got Michael Jai White, a.k.a. Spawn, a.k.a. Undisputed 2, a.k.a. just the coolest damn guy possibly ever. It's also got Peter Weller, a.k.a. RoboCop, a.k.a. Screamers, a.k.a. one of the smartest people on the History Channel. Yeah, History Channel. I like History Channel. It's also got Ron Perlman, a.k.a. Sons of Anarchy, a.k.a. Hellboy, a.k.a. just probably the smartest, oddest-looking individual I think you could probably, probably meet. But, so that is a holy shit movie for me and probably for other martial arts fans. So they're working on that. That's what Tony's doing. To basically just sum this movie up, I mean, this movie really is great. I know I rambled on a bit with some of the other stuff, but it was all kind of related, so just live with it. It was all kind of related. I'm just checking to make sure I got through everything this time, because I did try this once before and I'd forgotten stuff. So this movie really is great. And it's great on a lot of levels. It has some great three-dimensional characters. It has humor at the right times. It has great editing. It has great, filming for the action. Even just like the music. The music fits the film really well. That's impressive as well. I mean, how do you go over there and just it's Tony Jaa. How do you go over there and Tony Jaa? Let's see. He's going over there and kicking a man while his feet are on fire. What do we build the soundtrack to that to? You know, it really is great. Not something you want to dance to, but it's great for the film, which is ultimately really important. It's a great little slice of life film for what it is. It's not going over there and trying to be a big heady movie or anything like that. It's just, here's these characters. They interact with these characters. Here's what they do. Here's how it all plays out. Here's your movie. I like that when it's done well. And in this film, it is done well. You don't end up feeling like the movie cheated you in any way or it was talking down to you. It's just a fun little film. You know, if you're one of these people who's like super into, you need a story that's gonna be, and I like those films too. You know, Old Boy and a lot of those films. Then maybe it's not for you. If you're not, if that's specifically what you're looking for. But if you like films, like I said, they're just very here to there. Here's the movie. Please enjoy it. And it's also amazing, and it's got amazing action, by the way. Then I think you'd be nuts not to love this film, because I mean, it's been out for a while now. You've probably seen it, but if you haven't, it's not hard to find. It's super cheap. Please pick it up if you're so inclined, because it really is amazing. And so that's pretty much my review for it. And if I'm doing like a scale of like 1 to 10, with like 1 being like Ninja Revenge, which, by the way, I'm going to do a review for that at some point too, and you people will be sorry. But with 1 being Ninja Revenge is like -5. So that's the low point. Let's just put Ninja Revenge. And like 10 being like Chuck Norris in a fight with Bruce Lee and Tony Jaa and Scott Adkins and Michael Jai White, and filmed by Lau Kerlong and Chang Che. This is like a solid 9.5 at the very least for me. You know, it maybe doesn't quite do everything it needs to do to be quite at that level, but it's so damn close. And a 9.5 is like Marco's Roar fighting the 5 deadly venoms, plus the student. And Wei Pei. People need to remember Wei Pei. I like Wei Pei. Fuck you if you don't. But that's what it's like. It is a super cool movie. Please check it out if you haven't. If you're so inclined, whether I'm inclining you, or look up a trailer or whatever. Hopefully you'll like it. Though I will say, as I understand, this version, the American version, apparently had some time cut out of it. And let me just say this. Whoever did that, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to find you. I'm going to murder you in front of your family. And it'll be gruesome and awful, because I'm the worst type of person that you could have come after you who wants to kill you, because I'm a person with an imagination. So I'm going to get into some weird Saw shit with you, okay? You're going to end up like having to hack off your own fucking leg and eat it before yeah. So moving on. To give you an idea of the spectrum of the reviews that I'm intending to do for these films, going from this film, which is a film I've seen a bunch of times, I'm a huge fan of. I really feel that this is a very high-level martial arts film as far as production, cast, and all that, and everything. Going to this film, American Samurai, which showed up at my door yesterday. Stars David Bradley, who I don't know a lot about, I will admit, actually. I usually do, and I'm sure I know him, but it also introducing martial arts sensation Mark Dacascos, who I actually do know, who is awesome, by the way. Only the Strong, The Base, and a bunch of other films. Very, very cool guy. Which, by the way, started a campaign, let's get him doing a movie with Tony Jaa, Scott Adkins, or somebody, goddammit. But I mean, like I said, just to give you a scope on this, I mean, this to this. This is what I do for you people, and this is what I do for myself. These are the type of films that I love, because I love this, and I love this, and I love the whole stack of movies that I have just off camera. So, that's my review of Ong Bak. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing it 3 times because I kept messing stuff up. And, yeah, so, because again, remember, if you saw the intro thing, I got a whole format for my ending here. So, because I'm known to some as the Jade Tiger, and I was trained in the Death Cage, and because I was born to defend the man from Shaolin, I am Brandon Wenzel, and I review martial arts films.